So, first of all, I would like to congratulate you with the release of the upcoming album. And the first thing that doesn't pass unnoticed is, of course, the fact that it's not a chapter album anymore. So, it's incredibly curious for us. How did you come up to the idea of kind of canceling the history concept here?
We felt like the chapter of chapters was closed for us. We wanted to move away from this to be able to have the possibility to do something brand new and different. We didn't want to stick to the history themes anymore. And so we felt like the name of the album was one way to indicate this. The second thing is we've been doing something quite different musically. We asked ourselves at the beginning of the songwriting whether or not it made sense to sort of force orchestrations, like symphonic orchestrations into their songs if it was not serving them. Because when we were writing, we felt like, you know what? It's heavy the way it is, and if we add too much stuff, it loses the purity and the intentions that we have. So we added a few elements here and there, but not so many. So the sound is also pretty different in that sense. And so yeah, that's probably why we wanted to give something fresh start to for this album.
But well, in the meantime, never say never. I already predict your answer. But by far, do you think that the chapter, I mean, historical thing is kind of closed for you?
I think so, because where we are heading right now is something that feels really, really good to us.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I cannot, like you said, I cannot predict what's gonna be in 10 years. But right now we're completely in love with what we're doing with with this new record, and with like the exploration of new sounds and new dynamics and new soundscapes. So at the moment we're happy with like closing the chapter of chapters.
Sounds great. But maybe it was just me, but from my perspective in the Abyss, I listened to the album and I watched some music videos. Maybe it was the echo from your previous albums that were kind of concept for me. I was still trying to look for some concept there, because for me the ambience of the sound of the album and the ambience of the music videos, it was somehow united and connected, but I couldn't find this thing. So maybe you will either confirm or maybe just confirm my ideas or say that I'm not right.
So actually, and it's funny because some people already started to notice there is a connection in the videos, and there is sort of a connection in the kind of the theme of the album, although not in the same way as before. We wanted to give ourselves to be more the possibility to be more personal about the lyrics and the music, and to to use more personal experience rather than history, although it was always possible to include some personal feelings into the songwriting and the lyrics. But here, without having like a theme to follow, it's just easy to be like, oh, I feel like writing about this today because I feel like this. This album is actually part of a new trilogy, because we wanted to offer not just a new record, but we love the concept of giving something to look forward to and some things to connect, and the first way we connect those songs with this record, but not only, also with the next two records, is through the themes, which I will talk about in just a moment, but also through the videos and through the artwork. So we wanted to give the possibility to people to look at the whole thing when the three albums are out and be like, oh, the video leads to this video because there's this detail in there, and this story that brings there. And people already started to discover the little Easter eggs, which we've been working on with Mirko, who's the video director for all of the videos. But also, like I was saying, in the theme, we wanted to be much more personal. And we felt like human emotions will be the center of those three records, personal experiences. But we wanted to sort of sort those emotions into three albums Abyss being the darkest ones, the saddest ones in terms of especially lyrics and soundscapes,
Mhm.
moving forward to the next one, which is a bit more hopeful, and the next one, which is a lot more light, if I may say. So Abyss is the one that gathers the emotions that are more personal, self-doubt, trauma, things that we all experience at some point in life and have to figure out.
Yes, okay. So in the end, there is still a concept. That's perfect. And
There
it was,
is.
and it's, I wouldn't say, I mean, the word obvious seems bad here, but it's very, it's felt. Yes. So it's not
Mm.
kind of clear from the very beginning, but when you listen to the songs and watch the videos, it becomes very clear, and that's amazing. That's awesome. And well, if you speak about songs and the album being quite personal, so what maybe is the song that is the most joyful for you, even though we've already mentioned that it's kind of dark album? Well, the most joyful and the most challenging. So are there any stories behind the songs you can?
Yeah, of course. It's always for me difficult to, when you ask me, I have to kind of remember the entire album because it's fresh, but it's still like it's been so much work compressed into a certain period of time. The happiest song, good question. I want to say Surrender because it's the lightest one, you know, like the one where we had the most fun, first of all, writing, and when you listen to it, it's a song that's like danceable. And also the lyrics are like, what if we just decided to be happy? You know, like what if we just changed our ways and chose what brought joy to our life. So I want to say that this one is the happiest, or with the happiest intentions. The darkest one, I have a doubt because I have two coming to my mind right now. One of them is Parasite, which was funny enough written in the moment where I was I guess people, when they will discover the lyrics, they will be like, oh, she was angry when she wrote this, and I actually wrote it in just like a few hours because it's just an inspiration. So this is probably the angriest, but Outer Space is one that has one of the strongest meanings for me. I don't know how people will interpret it, but the way I felt when I wrote was, you know, when you're drifting outer space and you're trying to get your shit together for, you know, for the people who love you, and be like, if you wait for me, I'll be back. And that was I guess that's the one that's the most difficult to talk about, because it's like it opens memories and also vulnerability.
Yes, it's curious that you mentioned Parasite, because while listening to the album, I noted for myself this song like immediately because of how emotional it is. It's seriously something clicked in the very, very first seconds of the song, even. So
Oh wow.
certain vibe, yes, and apparently, and it appeared to be the darkest song on the album. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So my next question is about genres, and you know, Ad Infinitum, from what I checked, is mostly referred to modern metal or modern power metal. And so, what's for you behind these genres and titles? Do you agree with them, or you see your music in different way?
I think that the label changed album after album, more or less. We started more as a symphonic power metal band, and kind of in the modern part of that genre. But yeah, we evolved more, like we drifted away from the symphonic power part of the music and went towards modern metal. And I think that Abyss is definitely modern metal, and I don't think we can attribute it any symphonic label anymore.
Yeah, okay, but the question was, how do you yourself understand modern metal? Because, you know, for me, I grew up on power metal, so my actually first metal bands were Sonata Arctica and Nightwish.
Oh,
And yes, so it was
same.
more than 10 years ago when I think about it. That is, or it was quite a long time ago. So for me nowadays, apparently I'm that old, the term modern metal is something quite abstract. you know. So I'm just curious. So if you agree and accept that Ad Infinitum is modern metal, so what is modern metal actually?
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with the way it's constructed in terms of soundscapes, using new types of sound elements that sound not organic, that sound totally computer made. For example, if you take a symphonic metal band, even though a lot of it is created with samples and not an actual orchestra playing the songs, the sounds that are coming from that are sampled are more organic. You have violins, you have cellos, you have like that kind of elements. With modern metal, not only you have more modern sounds, like more, I want to say synthetic, but it's not the right word, but those typical sounds that you would attribute to like pop music or EDM music or things like that. But also in terms of construction structures and of a mix of genres, you hear a lot of pop elements in our new album. And what I hear a lot in bands doing modern metal that I like is that they are reaching to grasp those elements from other genres and mix it into metal. When I think about modern metal, I think about less traditional, like less heavy metal, and more exploration.
Yes, and it's great that you started the topic of kind of pop music and softer genres, because after Surrender, I already knew that I'm going to have a chat with you. I wanted to ask you, so what is your opinion on the following thing? A lot of metal bands, and that's quite okay, they soften their sound, but sooner or later, either they incorporate some pop elements or they just generally softer the sound. It's a often thing, but why doesn't it happen vice versa? I hardly can remember any example when, for example, a pop singer all of a sudden releases a melodic death metal album. This song made me curious about this question. So
yeah, it's a good question. I wonder. I guess there are examples, if we really look for it, of people who went from pop to harder music.
I only know one example when Doja Cat, maybe you know this singer, she had a song called Say So, and I know that on, I think, some musical awards, all of a sudden she performed a metalcore version of the song. And that was cool, but that's the only example that I know.
Actually, I do have an example. I think it was a couple of years ago, Demi Lovato revisited her hits and turned them into hard rock, or I guess it was hard rock. And I see a lot of pop artists, when they are on stage, bringing a band and making a version that is a little bit more organic and more rock, if I may say. But you're right, there's more of the other way around, like artists who start harder and then explore the softer side. I don't really have an answer. I think it's just you start with what you know from, I don't know, if you're a fan of, I don't know, harder bands since you've been, I don't know, a teenager maybe, and then you do this because you're gathering in your garage with your friends and you're making a band and you're making hard music, and then suddenly your tastes sort of evolve and you open your mind to other sounds, but you still hold on to what you've been loving for many years. You want to sort of include those elements into what you've been doing while staying true to yourself, both how you started and how you are right now. That's just a guess.
It's very interesting. Thanks for sharing your point on that. The next question is about collaboration. So you are well known for being a great collaborator with so many amazing artists, and I'm extremely curious, how do these collaborations happen actually? So you suggest the artist to collaborate, or you get a suggestion?
No, I get suggestion. I don't think I would ever knock on someone's door and be like, hey, should I sing on your album? No, actually, for example, Feuerschwanz, we are on the same label with them and at Infinitum, and they contacted me back in 2020 to record the Ding cover.
Yeah, I remember.
And then we met on set of the video shoot, and then we became friends and we collaborated again. Camelot, they also, they have a female guest singer on every album cycle. It's been like this for many years. And one day I got a message from Thomas Youngblood. He asked me if I was willing to go on tour with them, and I was super happy because especially, Camelot has been one of my inspirations, especially when creating Ad Infinitum. So yeah, but it's always like people either who get in touch or who are friends with me, or we are friends together, think I can bring something to their album. And I'm very grateful for it, because it's always cool to sing on other people's projects, especially because I know how much it means to people.
Yes, and they're absolutely right to do so. And now let's just try to maybe make some dreams come true. Is there an artist with whom you haven't yet collaborated, but you would love to collaborate? Thinking that maybe he or she will see this interview.
It's funny because it's a question that I've had quite a few times these past few weeks. And I was saying, it would change from one month to another, because I listen to so much music, and I just love music and lots of artists. But two bands that I would love to collaborate with, because of how much I love their music or live show, are Bad Omens and Bring Me the Horizon. It's huge bands. I'm not saying that it will ever happen, but it's just like recently I was playing at Grass Pop with Camelot, and we were lucky enough to play, or let's say I was lucky enough that it fell the same day as Bring Me the Horizon, and I stayed for the show, and I was just like, I already loved their music, but now I love it even more. I had just such a great time at their show, and so much respect for them. And Bad Omens is a band that inspired us, but especially me, for this new record, in terms of songwriting, of vocal recordings, and like of vocal production. So yeah, that's two bands that I listen to a lot these days.
Yes, it's interesting that Bring Me the Horizon is one of my favorite bands. I
Yeah.
saw it 3 times. And now I will never get rid of the image. I mean, like musical image of you performing with them somehow.
Oh,
Seriously, I think it would be a blast.
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's see. Maybe we talk again in a few years, and we talk about that.
Yeah. And I would be like, yeah, you did it. That's super amazing. And so let's just go further. My next question is, of course, about your solo song and solo project. So is it only one song, or do you plan to create an album, touring, stuff like that?
It's not just a one song thing, because I just, I love writing music, and I've been wanting to do this for years. And with like Ad Infinitum being busy as we are, it was difficult. I've been starting to write since a long time. But now finally I got the time to release the first song, and I'm like super happy with the response. And obviously I would like to release more. I just don't know yet how, like if I want to do singles, if I want to do an EP, an album. I think ultimately I would love to release a solo album, because just because it's a big achievement to have your own album, and it's something that I would love to have just as a personal thing. It doesn't matter if it's like charting #1 all over the world, or just for me and my neighbors. But I just think it would be a cool thing to do for myself.
Of course, such an achievement for sure. Very important question that I have. Very curious about the research that you are doing for charismatic voice.
Yes.
So I was following Elizabeth for a long time. She's one of my icons in interviewing. Yes. I was super curious about this project, and can you just tell me what you are doing there, just in simple words?
I'm gonna be doing lots of tests on, like, from vocalizations to camera down the throat, to strap to check my breath, to electrodes down in my throat, in my muscles, to lots of screaming and DMRI. I mean, there's going to be lots of tests. I have never seen, you've probably seen the videos with Will Ramos from Lorna Shore. And I mean, like many vocalists, I have checked my vocal cords and I've had the camera down my throat and watched a lot of documentation about it, but it's the first time that there's such an extended research that has been done on harsh vocals especially, and I'm super excited to be part of it. I mean, I won't lie, I'm a little bit nervous because I've seen the video with Will and I've seen like his reactions to the different sensations, so I was like, oh, let's see. But no, I'm super grateful to be part of this.
It's an experience, an adventure of a lifetime, and plus it's really for science. I think it's the slogan of this whole event.
It's fantastic. They are investing a lot of time and energy into this non-profit research, and there's a lot of like there's a whole team behind it, and I'm so happy to see that they've reached their first goal to just make it happen. You know, I think it's difficult to realize how much resources are needed to make this happen, and I'm so proud of them for this.
Great that you are a part of this historical event.
And great vocalists also.
Yes,
lots of great vocalists.
My very last question would be, what would be your message for the fans of Ad Infinitum and your solo project already, maybe, who will surely watch this interview?
Well, I just thank you so much for your support and for already pre-ordering the album and listening to our music, sharing our music. We're seeing so much love that sometimes it's a little bit unreal because it still feels like we just started this band. So it's pretty incredible to see everything that we're being able to do, and I hope that I will meet every single one of you who's watching this or somewhere on the road.